HOA built a bridge over my ranch without consent. It collapsed with them still on it. Have you ever had someone walk all over your rights, thinking they could get away with it? That's exactly what happened to Tom Harlan, a third-generation rancher in the rolling hills of Willow Creek, Montana. His sprawling 200-acre ranch, a legacy of sweat and grit, became the battleground for a clash with a homeowners association that thought they could bulldoze his boundaries literally. When their unauthorized bridge over his land came crashing down, it wasn't just steel and concrete that collapsed. It was their arrogance, too. Tom had lived on his ranch for 45 years, raising cattle and keeping to himself. His property bordered a gated community, Willow Heights, where wealthy newcomers had built sprawling homes, their manicured lawns a stark contrast to Tom's rugged pastures. The HOA, led by Karen Whitaker, a real estate mogul with a penchant for control, had long eyed Tom's land as a shortcut to the nearby lake. For years, they'd pestered him to sell a strip of his property for a road. Tom's answer was always the same: not a chance. His land wasn't just dirt, it was his family's history, etched in every fence post and cattle trail. But Karen and her HOA didn't take no for an answer. One spring morning in 2024, Tom woke to the roar of construction equipment. Stumbling out in his boots, he found a crew pouring concrete pillars on his land, right over the creek that cut through his northern pasture. A sleek pedestrian bridge was taking shape, unpermitted and unapproved. What in God's name is this? Tom bellowed, confronting a foreman who shrugged and pointed to a work order signed by Karen. The HOA had decided to build the bridge without Tom's consent, claiming it was for the community's benefit. They'd even forged a permit, banking on Tom being too old or too busy to fight back. Furious, Tom stormed to the HOA's office, a glass-walled monstrosity overlooking their pristine golf course. Karen, in her tailored blazer, barely looked up from her desk. "It's just a bridge, Mr. Harlan," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "It's for public access. You can't hoard the lake forever." Tom's face reddened. "It's my land, lady. You don't get to decide what happens on it." But Karen waved him off, citing eminent domain and a vague clause in the HOA bylaws about community improvements. Tom wasn't a lawyer, but he knew a land grab when he saw one. He vowed to fight, hiring a scrappy local attorney, Ellie Monroe, who specialized in property disputes. Ellie uncovered a paper trail of deceit. The HOA had bribed a county official to push through a fake permit, and the bridge's construction company, a shady outfit tied to Karen's brother-in-law, had cut corners to save costs. No geotechnical survey, no structural reinforcements, just a rush job to get the bridge up before Tom could stop it. Ellie filed an injunction, but the HOA's deep pockets stalled the case in court. Meanwhile, the bridge was completed, a shiny eyesore slicing through Tom's pasture. Residents of Willow Heights began using it daily, traipsing across his land to the lake, leaving trash and trampling his grass. Karen even posted a smug announcement on the HOA's website, calling the bridge a triumph of community spirit. But then came the twist no one saw coming. At a town hall meeting, a soft-spoken surveyor named Raj Patel stepped forward. He'd worked on the bridge project briefly before quitting when his safety concerns were ignored. Raj revealed he'd kept records, detailed notes and photos showing the bridge's foundation was unstable, built on soft, waterlogged soil. He'd warned Karen and the contractor, but they'd dismissed him, calling his concerns overblown. Raj handed Ellie a USB drive with his evidence, including emails where Karen instructed the contractor to just get it done cheap. This wasn't just negligence. It was reckless endangerment. Ellie's eyes lit up. "This changes everything," she whispered to Tom. Armed with Raj's evidence, Ellie and Tom prepared for a showdown. They filed a new lawsuit, this time accusing the HOA of fraud, trespass, and gross negligence. The case gained traction, drawing local media attention. Reporters camped outside the HOA office, and residents of Willow Heights began questioning Karen's leadership. But Karen doubled down, organizing a grand bridge opening ceremony to spin the narrative. She invited the entire community, local officials, and even a news crew, planning to cut a ribbon and declare the bridge a symbol of progress. Tom and Ellie watched from a distance, knowing the structure's flaws. "Let her dig her own grave," Ellie said, gripping Tom's arm. The ceremony was a spectacle. Karen, in a bright red dress, stood on the bridge with a megaphone, preaching about unity and progress. Dozens of residents crowded onto the bridge, snapping selfies and sipping champagne. Tom, watching from his truck, felt a knot in his stomach. He didn't trust the bridge, but he hadn't expected what happened next. A low rumble echoed through the valley. The crowd froze. Then, with a sickening crack, the bridge's center buckled. Screams pierced the air as concrete and steel gave way, plunging Karen, the HOA board, and a dozen residents into the shallow creek below. Chaos erupted. The news crew captured every second, broadcasting the collapse live. Miraculously, no one died, but injuries were severe broken bones, concussions, and one resident in critical condition. Karen, soaked and limping, screamed about lawsuits as paramedics pulled her from the wreckage. Tom rushed to help, wading into the creek to pull people to safety, his anger tempered by a rancher's instinct to protect. But as he hauled a sobbing HOA board member to shore, he locked eyes with Karen. "This is on you," he said, his voice steady but cold. The fallout was swift and brutal. Raj's evidence became the cornerstone of Tom's case, proving the HOA's negligence. The court ruled in Tom's favor, ordering the HOA to pay $2 million in damages for trespass, emotional distress, and environmental cleanup. The bridge's remains were demolished, and the land was restored to Tom's ownership. Karen faced criminal charges for fraud and reckless endangerment, her reputation in tatters. The HOA board dissolved, replaced by a new group that vowed transparency and respect for property rights. Karen's real estate empire crumbled as clients fled, and she was last seen moving out of Willow Heights, her red dress swapped for a moving van's anonymity. But the real victory wasn't the money or the punishment. It was Tom standing on his ranch, the creek flowing freely again, his land untouched by the HOA's greed. Ellie, now a local hero, joined him for a beer on his porch. "You didn't just save your land," she said. "You showed them no one's above accountability." Tom nodded, staring at the horizon. "This ranch is my family's heart. They thought they could take it. They were wrong." The story of Willow Creek's bridge spread far beyond Montana, sparking debates about property rights, HOA overreach, and the consequences of cutting corners. Tom's stand became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that one person, armed with truth and grit, could topple even the most arrogant powers. Raj, the surveyor who risked his job to expose the truth, was hailed as a whistleblower, his quiet courage a spark that lit the fire of justice. What do you think? Was Tom right to fight so fiercely for his land, or should he have compromised for the community's benefit? And what about Karen? Did she deserve her downfall, or was she just a product of a system that rewards power grabs? Share your thoughts. Whose side are you on?